He built his career on being the nation's favorite grump, the man who could make a boiled egg sound like breaking news. But this week, Eamonn Holmes isn't just making headlines on breakfast television, he's living one. A tax battle that's already cost him a fortune, a marriage that ended in heartbreak, and now a drastic new move that has fans of Britain's morning TV world sitting up and taking notice. If you thought his story couldn't get any messier, buckle up, because what's happening behind the scenes is anything but ordinary. For anyone who's followed British breakfast television over the last 2 decades, the name Eamonn Holmes needs no introduction. He's one of the most recognizable faces in UK morning media, a broadcaster whose career stretches back to the early days of GMTV, through more than a decade fronting Sky News, and then 15 years as the beloved Friday face of This Morning, alongside his wife, Ruth Langsford. Together, Eamonn and Ruth were about as close to television royalty as breakfast TV gets, a real-life couple bantering their way through sofa segments, cookery slots, and celebrity interviews, beloved by millions of viewers who tuned in every week to watch their easy, unscripted chemistry. But behind the cozy on-screen partnership, life for Eamonn Holmes has been anything but smooth sailing. In 2024, after 27 years together and 14 years of marriage, Eamonn and Ruth confirmed that their relationship was over, sending shockwaves through the world of British television. It was one of those breakups nobody saw coming, a couple who had built an entire brand around their marriage, from joint travel shows to lifestyle series, suddenly announcing they were going their separate ways. And as if that wasn't enough drama for one presenter to handle, Eamonn has also spent years locked in a bruising legal battle with HMRC, the UK's tax authority, over how his earnings from ITV were classified. Now, in the middle of 2026, both of those storylines have collided, and the fallout is proving far more dramatic than anyone anticipated. Let's start with the tax fight, because this is where things have taken a genuinely brutal turn. HMRC changed its position on how Eamonn was employed during his years presenting alongside ITV, arguing that instead of working as a freelancer through his own company, he should have been taxed as a direct employee. That reclassification opened the door to HMRC demanding roughly a decade's worth of back taxes and national insurance contributions. Eamonn has revealed the dispute has cost him more than £1 million in total, forcing him to sell 2 properties, his family home in Belfast and a holiday residence in Portugal, while still leaving him with a remaining debt of around £250,000. He's been vocal and visibly frustrated about the whole ordeal, publicly branding HMRC as little more than official sanction robbers who've torn through his life savings. On top of the financial strain, he's also had to deal with a facial injury and reported friction in his new relationship, all while the legal bills continue to pile up despite unsuccessful appeals. Dailiest times. And that's exactly why this is being described as a drastic move. For a man who spent decades building financial security through some of the biggest shows on British television, losing not 1 but 2 properties to settle a tax dispute is about as dramatic a fall as it gets. It's the kind of story that reminds viewers just how ruthless HMRC investigations into media freelancers can be. Eamonn is far from the only presenter to have been caught up in this kind of dispute, with names like Lorraine Kelly and Gary Lineker also finding themselves under scrutiny over how their broadcasting income was taxed. But unlike Lorraine, who successfully overturned her tax bill, Eamonn's appeals haven't gone his way, and the financial damage has been severe and very public. Then there's the other half of this story, the divorce. What was once described as an amicable, mutually respectful split between Eamonn and Ruth has, according to recent reports, taken a much tougher turn behind closed doors. Sources close to the pair suggest that settlement talks over their finances broke down, with the divorce reportedly heading toward a courtroom showdown involving assets estimated to be worth around £10 million. That's a dramatic shift from the calm, staying friends narrative both presenters offered when they first announced their split. For 2 people who spent years cultivating an image of warmth and partnership on national television, a courtroom battle over money is about as far from that image as you can get. Adding another layer to the story, Ruth has spoken candidly in recent months about how devastating the breakup was for her personally, describing mornings spent crying before work and admitting the split felt almost impossible to survive at first. Eamonn, for his part, has admitted that if he could go back and change one thing, it would be finding a better balance between his career and his personal life, a rare moment of vulnerability from a man usually known for his combative, no-nonsense television persona. He's since moved on with a new partner, relationship counselor Katie Alexander, while continuing to battle health issues that have included a double hip replacement and spinal surgery. So, how has the public reacted to all of this? Unsurprisingly, viewers and media commentators have been quick to weigh in. Many longtime fans of the Eamonn and Ruth partnership have expressed genuine sadness watching two of morning television's most familiar faces go through such a public and painful unraveling, both financially and personally. Social media has been full of sympathy for Eamonn's tax troubles specifically, with plenty of viewers questioning why HMRC continues pursuing television personalities so aggressively over freelance status disputes that, in some cases, take years and small fortunes to resolve. At the same time, there's been no shortage of commentary questioning how a decade-long marriage and partnership built so publicly could end up in a courtroom fight over money, with some critics suggesting the reported breakdown in settlement talks paints a very different picture from a united front the couple originally presented. Television critics have also pointed to this story as a reminder of just how brutal life behind the cameras of British breakfast television can be. Presenters who spend years appearing warm, funny, and relatable on our screens are often navigating extraordinary personal and financial pressure once the cameras stop rolling. An Eamonn situation, with its combination of tax turmoil, health struggles, and a very public marriage breakdown, has become something of a cautionary tale within the industry. So, what does all of this mean going forward? For Eamonn, the immediate future looks like it will remain dominated by legal proceedings on two fronts, continuing to manage the fallout of his tax dispute while bracing for what could be a lengthy and costly divorce settlement process if the court battle proceeds as reported. Despite everything, he has continued to show up for work, still fronting his breakfast program on GB News alongside co-host Isabel Webster, proving that whatever chaos is happening in his personal life, his commitment to live broadcasting hasn't wavered. Whether that resilience continues if the legal pressures intensify remains to be seen, and it's certainly something viewers and industry insiders will be watching closely in the months ahead. As for Ruth, she's continued building her own path forward, remaining a familiar face on Loose Women, and speaking with growing openness about rebuilding her life and confidence after the split. There's been plenty of speculation about whether the reported courtroom battle will actually proceed, or whether a last-minute settlement might still be reached behind closed doors, as often happens in high-profile divorce cases once the financial and reputational costs of a public trial start to sink in. Either way, this is a story that's far from over, and morning television fans will undoubtedly be keeping a close eye on how both presenters navigate what comes next. To wrap things up, this has been an extraordinary chapter in the life of one of Britain's most familiar broadcasting faces. A tax dispute that's already cost him over £1 million and 2 properties, a divorce that appeared amicable but now looks headed for a courtroom showdown worth millions, and through it all, a presenter determined to keep working despite the mounting personal and financial pressure. It's a story that captures just how complicated life can get behind the friendly, familiar faces we see every morning on our screens. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of British breakfast television, let us know your thoughts on Eamonn Holmes' situation down in the comments below. Do you think the divorce settlement will actually reach the courtroom, or will a last-minute deal be struck? Give this video a like if you found it interesting, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on Good Morning Britain, GB News, and everything happening across the world of British morning television.